What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one, we're going to be going over Michigan's 2025 defensive depth chart, as this Michigan defense is absolutely stacked and loaded again here for the 2025 season, and it starts up front on the defensive line. This defensive line is going to be one of the best in college football, and Michigan does plan on rotating 10 guys on the defensive line this upcoming season, which is absolutely insane, but that's just how much depth they have. And Sharon Moore even said that, he doesn't think they've had this much depth on the defensive line and been able to rotate 10 guys like they'll be able to since the 2021 season. But, at the defensive tackle position and in the inside, you got the players like Rashawn Benny and then also Trey Williams and Damon Payne, who both transferred in. Trey Williams came from Clemson, a guy who has a ton of experience at the college level and is a 315-pound defensive tackle, had 14 total tackles and 2 sacks during the 2024 season with Clemson, and if he can stay healthy, he is going to be a force on the defensive line for Michigan. And you pair that with a guy like Rashawn Benny, who is ready to, shine and really take that next step up. In 2024, he had 1.5 sacks, 29 total tackles, but obviously played behind Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, but now it's his time to shine. And then they got Damon Payne, the Alabama transfer, former 5-star from the state of Michigan. Those are going to be the guys in the inside of the defensive line, and then they also got backups from younger guys like Trey Pierce and Enow Etta, who are both going to be juniors this upcoming season, have been waiting their turn as well, and we saw them shine in the bowl game against Alabama. They also got a player like Ike Iwana, and then also David Poly, a massive defensive lineman just like Kenneth Grant, over 335 pounds, and is entering his second year with the Wolverines. And then also in the inside, they got Manuel Beagle. They also got some freshmen as well, like Bobby Conca, Travis Moten, Benny Patterson. They also got Ted Hammond in there as well in the inside on the defensive line. And then you got the edge position, which they are also stacked. You got returning players like Derek Moore and TJ Guy. Derek Moore, a returning starter. Obviously, TJ Guy played behind the dominant Josiah Stewart last season, but now it's his time to shine, and he really came along last season for the Wolverines. Those two guys are going to be a force on the edge. And then you got the backups, Dominic Nichols, Cameron Brandt. Dominic Nichols was a true freshman last season who really raised some eyes, and those are two younger guys who are going to be great on the defensive line as well in the future, and we'll get some playing time here next season. But then you got Devin Baxter, who is entering his sophomore season, Luggard Edokpe. They also got 2 incoming freshmen out of Julius Holly and Nate Marshall on the edge as well. Those are 2 freshmen coming in. So, Michigan had to replace guys like Josiah Stewart, Mason Graham, and Kenneth Grant, obviously, on the defensive line, but this defensive line gonna be elite again. And again, that 10-man rotation of Rashawn Benny, Trey Pierce, Enow Etta, Ike Iwana, and then the transfers Trey Williams and Damon Payne. And then on the edge, you got TJ Guy, Derek Moore, Dominic Nichols, and Cameron Brandt. Those 10 guys are all going to be getting some playing time and rotating on the defensive line this upcoming season for the Wolverines. It is one of Michigan's loaded positions entering the 2025 season. But the next position I wanted to talk about is the linebacker position. But do you know how many websites have your personal info right now? Seriously, if you Google your name or email, you could see that it is everywhere. This is because of something called data brokers. These are companies that collect and sell your personal info to marketers, scammers, etc. It's also why you get so many scam calls and texts. But that's why there's Aura, today's sponsor. Aura handles the messy stuff for you, automatically removing your info from these data broker sites and keeping it off. And that's just the start. Aura also sends you real-time alerts if your info shows up on the dark web, monitors your credit, flags suspicious activity, has a built-in VPN and antivirus, and so much more. They even offer $5 million in identity theft protection Aura is an all-in-one package where you get identity theft protection, financial fraud protection, and online privacy and security. So for real though, guys, if you've been feeling like your data's out of your control, it probably is, and Aura can help you take it back. So do what I did and try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/Michigan Sports Talk, and in just those 2 weeks, you'll see exactly how amazing Aura is. So guys, it's time to start protecting yourself. Go to aura.com/Michigan Sports Talk to get started. Link down below in the description. But let's go ahead and continue here and talk about the linebacker depth chart here for the Wolverines, as it is another pretty stacked room here for Michigan. They got obviously Jashawn Barham and Ernest Hausman returning, both returning starters at the linebacker position, although Michigan is planning on using Jashawn Barham more on the edge, which I actually did forget to put him on the edge when we talked about the defensive line, but he's going to be a guy who's going to be put on the edge. You know, Wink Martindale, Michigan, they like him in a Micah Parsons type of role next season, but he'll still be playing linebacker along with Ernest Hausman. And then Jimmy Rolder, Michigan's going to be looking at him as a starter at the linebacker position as well. He's just another third starter for the Wolverines. He has gotten a lot of praise in the past. His only thing is that he hasn't been that healthy, but you know, if he is healthy this upcoming season, he's going to be another great piece to the linebacker room, and you'll be hearing his name for sure. And then Michigan also has guys like Cole Sullivan entering his second year, which he has gotten a lot of praise as well. They've called him a freak athlete, and he's another guy that can even line up you know, on the edge, just like Jashawn Barham, but he's going to be getting some playing time this upcoming season. And then also they got the Georgia transfer Troy Bowles. So those 5 guys right there are going to be seeing a lot at the linebacker position this upcoming season. And then behind them, you got Tyler McLaurin, Jaden Hood, and then also incoming freshman out of Chase Taylor and Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, who was a top target and top get for the Wolverines in the 2025 recruiting class. And they also got Zach Ludwig. So linebacker room going to be stacked this upcoming season as well, with Jashawn Barham and Ernest Hausman leading the way. And you got guys like Jimmy Rolder and Cole Sullivan again, but Ernest Hausman and Jashawn Barham combined for 155 tackles and 10.5 tackles for loss this past season. And now they got, you know, a full season under their belt playing with each other under Wink Martindale as well. So absolutely cannot wait to see what they do this upcoming season. And then the next position we'll talk about is the cornerback position, which this is probably Michigan's weakest position group on the defensive side, but they still got talent in there, and they got returning starters out of Jair Hill and Zeke Berry. Now Jair Hill obviously was a true sophomore last season. He's got experience now, though. You know, he overcame an inconsistent start to the 2024 season with a strong finish, including some tough assignments, you know, against Ohio State and Alabama at the end of the season. Same with Zeke Berry, though. I mean, you know, this is a guy who had to go on the outside and start at cornerback instead of his nickelback position, and that was against Oregon, and obviously struggled against them a little bit, but especially in that first half of that game. But in the second half, ever since that, you know, that defense, they changed something. They turned it around, and Zeke Berry really got comfortable there on the outside playing cornerback. So those are the 2 returning starters. They also got backups like Josiah Edmond, and then also true freshman Shamari Earls. These 2 guys are going to be very talented in the future. Josiah Edmond got a lot of praise as a true freshman last season. Then you got Shamari Earls, who was a top 100 cornerback in the 2025 class and one of their top gets in the class. And Michigan also went in the transfer portal and got the Louisiana cornerback Caleb Anderson, who Lamar Morgan, Michigan's defensive back coach, did coach before at Louisiana, so he knows what he's getting as he adds some insurance and some much needed experience at the cornerback position. And they also got Jeremiah Lowe, who was a redshirt freshman, and an incoming freshman as well, Jaden Sanders. And they also got Tevis Metcalf, who will be a sophomore this upcoming season. He transferred in from Arkansas. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what Michigan does, who their 2 cornerback starters will be, if it'll be Jair Hill and Zeke Berry, or if a guy like Shamari Earls or Josiah Edmond takes that starting spot and then they put Zeke Berry back at nickelback, or maybe even Caleb Anderson can start at cornerback this upcoming season. So, you know, they'll figure it out. Now, they do have the freshman Jordan Young, who can also play nickelback. He may get some reps there. He can also play safety as well, and that leads us to the safety position. which Michigan has really loaded up at the safety position here. And obviously, it starts with Rod Moore. He's hurt right now, still recovering from his ACL injury, and then, the meniscus repair surgery that he had to get as well. But I tell you what, if he is good to go by the start of the season, watch out. And then I also expect TJ Metcalf to start at safety as well for the Wolverines. He's a transfer from Arkansas and is an absolute ball hawk, just like Rod Moore. He had 3 interceptions last season with Arkansas, an absolute playmaker in the secondary. But Michigan also has Brandon Hillman, who really came along towards the end of the season last season. That's a guy who will lay some hits down on some wide receivers. We saw that towards the end of the season. They also got a very talented sophomore out of Mason Curtis. He's another guy who can play around all around the field almost. He's a very athletic defensive back. And then Michigan also has a guy like Jaden Mangham, who transferred in from Michigan State last season but was injured all season, and we'll hopefully get to see him in a maize and blue uniform out there on the field for the first time. And he's a very talented player as well. He was one of Michigan State's best players when he transferred in to Michigan. So I mean, that safety position is absolutely stacked as well for the Wolverines. They also got Jacob Oden entering his sophomore season, a former in-state recruit. And then also Kainoa Winston, the freshman, and Elijah Dotson, who was another in-state recruit in the 2025 class from Belleville, Michigan, who joined Bryce Underwood in the 2025 class. So when you look at this defense, it is absolutely stacked for the Wolverines. Again, it starts up front on the defensive line, and I mean, there's not really any gaps in this defense. It is talented all the way around. Maybe at the cornerback position you could point out some things, but they still got talent in there, and it's a young group, so they just need some experience. But when you got a talented defensive line like Michigan does, those young guys will be fine as long as they're getting pressure on the quarterback. So let me know what you guys think about Michigan's 2025 defensive depth chart. Who you guys are most excited to watch next season on the defense? Who you think will have a breakout season for the Wolverines? And any more thoughts you have. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it, and we see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.